will stop the senseless killing. We'll leave it up the score. Against the ninja, we will fight the battle to win. Against the ninja, we will fight to battle to sin. Vicious night as the energy would cease. Taekwondo is our way of life. We will stop the senseless killing. We will end this evil war. We will stop the senseless killing. We'll leave it up the score. Against the ninja, we will fight the battle to win. Against the ninja, we will fight to battle the sin. Senseless killing, we will end this evil war. We will stop the senseless killing. We'll leave it up the score. Against the ninja, we will fight the battle to win. Against the ninja, we will fight to battle the sin. Taekwondo, 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 Got the ninja.
Got money, I'll do anything for you. Got money, just tell me what you want me to. Got money, nail me up against the wall. Got money, don't want everything, he wants it all. No, you can't take it, no, you can't take it, no, you can't take that away from me. No, you can't take it, no, you can't take it, no, you can't take that away from me. Head like a hole, black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Head like a hole, black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Got money's not looking for the cure. Got money's not concerned about the sick among you. Got money, let's go dancing on the backs of the bruised. Got money's not one to choose. No, you can't take it, no, you can't take it, no, you can't take that away from me. No, you can't take it, no, you can't take it, no, you can't take that away from me. Head like a hole, black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Head like a hole, black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Before the one you serve, you're gonna get what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Head like a hole, black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Head like a hole, black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Head like a home, black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Head like a home, black is your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Bow down before the one you serve. You're gonna get what you deserve.
We all came out tomorrow on the lake. This is XboxEra. We're an independent, community-funded publication focused on providing the best coverage and discussion of your favourite platform, Xbox. With best-in-class forums, a kick-ass Discord server, and awesome merch, XboxEra.com is your destination for the best news, reviews, and features focused on what you care about. With shows like the Xbox Era podcast, headlines, and a whole heap of Patreon-exclusive content, we're proud to be an independent publication completely funded by you. If you value having an outlet truly focused on your preferred place to play, you can become one of the cool kids by supporting us directly via Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. You get cool swag and awesome perks, and we get to keep doing what we do. Become a part of the best Xbox community on the internet and help us grow even larger. Thank you for your support. This is XboxEra is only made possible by the support of an amazing community, and in particular our legendary and growing army of Patreon supporters. Our executive producers, Top, The Scarecrow 121, Peter B, Not Jack, Mohammed Sherez, Kevin S, Korkenstein, Jordan White, Jordan Andau, Frankie C, Terran H, and Britt. Our amazingly generous grand benefactors who take their support and dedication to XboxEra to another level. Krat56, an assassin. And then there's our boss, our leader, our shining light in times of darkness, the one and only XboxEra's CEO, Torn Raptor. You guys are all fucking awesome. If you enjoy the content XboxEra produce and want more of it, and you're not a patron, consider heading over to patreon.com/XboxEra, pledge your support, and get cool swag in return. Hello friends, I'm back and welcome to another episode of XboxEra Headlines. The date is March 2025. I'm too tired, I'm jet lagged. I just want to start again.
It works. It's the 2025th.
It's the
25th of 2025.
Man, I'm wiped, but I'm back.
We are both wiped.
That's right. Yeah, you've been working very hard because you had to double everything up because I wasn't here.
And then
thank you.
One thing we'll talk about later came in Friday morning, and I didn't finish it, and even then was still through Sunday. Yeah, it's
just too much. It's too much. But hello, everybody. We're going to keep this a high energy show, regardless. This is where I'm joking. They're like, no, I'm joking. I wouldn't do such a thing. Now, it is March 25th, 2025. Jesse and I are going to talk through all of the latest in gaming news from across the industry. As a bonus for our wonderful patrons, we do make audio versions of XboxEra's Headlines show available for them to listen to on their preferred podcast application via Patreon. But if you're on Spotify, you can link your Patreon account to your Spotify account and listen to it there instead. Simply said, if you want to be awesome, become a patron by heading to patreon.com/XboxEra, because it truly is the best way that you can support and keep our wonderful little outlet alive. Did you enjoy not having me around for a week?
No.
No.
As big as our team is, we are still only a two-man actually work here operation. And so with you gone, it was a lot of work, but you were doing important networking and things behind the scenes. And I know you probably can't talk about the most teasery things, but we'll have a little bit to talk about GDC today.
I can't talk about most teasery things. I can talk about some stuff, but not loads of stuff. But that's okay, because there's plenty to talk about. But yeah, let's talk about GDC, because I'm back and I had a fun time. If you tuned into the XboxEra podcast,
it was a good one.
It was a fun one because you guys had the lovely MVG, who I did bump into at GDC and twice. The first time I bumped into him was merely walking through the streets of San Francisco. Was interrupted by a man who I said, "My goodness, he's tall."
and he hugged me. I hugged him. We shared some love, and he had to go and I had to go. But then I did bump into him again on the last day of GDC as I was enjoying the breakfast treat of, and this is America, an omelette with chili in it, because that is what you have for breakfast.
You can get an omelet with damn near whatever you want.
I honestly, omelette with chili. It was called the Hangover omelette, and it slapped. I was all for it. I had that and a chocolate milkshake for breakfast, a diner one, like in the big old-fashioned glass. I wanted to stand at one end of the diner. I wanted them to slide it along, and I catch it, and then I like Back to the Future. But I didn't do that. But I bumped into MVG again in the diner, and happened to have, as part of the GDC package, they give you like these little swipe cards which have some food items on it for like value you can redeem on the sites. Ooh. And obviously I was leaving, and I had about, I would say about, I don't know, 50, 60 bucks worth of food vouchers. I was like, here, bro. And he was like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, go. So he hopefully had a good meal on me, or on GDC. Thanks, guys. But hello to everybody in the chat. I've missed you all. Yeah, it was fun. Let's talk about GDC. Ooh. I think that GDC is cool, but I wouldn't say it is particularly a media-focused engagement. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. The name is what it is on the tin, right? It is the Game Developers Conference, not the Games Media Conference. And yeah, it was cool, and I loved being there, but also I there wasn't a huge number of media ops. Having said that, it was bizarre to me the amount of PR companies that were emailing out on like the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Hello, I'm already here. I already have a schedule, and you're trying to get me to come to see stuff? Where were you 3 weeks ago? That felt odd to me.
It can be we're not big enough for people to know us, and so we get things super late, because I do know GDC definitely feels like it's a networking event in a lot of ways. Like, they've got their talks that developers like to go to, but on the background, the periphery is all the networking and all that stuff, and it really just constantly comes down to who do you know, what can you get into, what cool shiz can you find hidden. Which will take time for us to get better at.
Yeah, there is that. But, I was hanging around with other media folks, including the lovely Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming. Very nice chap.
Who know PR companies like.
And very, very similar, like he was also getting very late notice. And it was one of the big topics of conversation. I actually said to Tom Henderson, and Tom, I mean this, if you're watching right now, I think next year we should do a talk on it. I think this would be a useful talk for indie developers. I think it would be a useful talk for the industry. And this is the conversation point, right, that I would put forward, is that there are lots of facets of the games industry that feel kind of broken, right? So you've got, from a broader perspective in terms of game development, we have all seen and written about and ingested the news of mass firings and games falling over 2 weeks out of the gate, live services being shut down, developers losing their jobs, entire studios being shuttered. There's that side of the industry, and it's kind of broken, right? Then we've got the games media side of the industry, where, and I'm not trying to speak ill of any of my peers or colleagues in this industry. Everyone that I know does an amazing job. However, we cannot deny the fact that the games media side of the industry is owned primarily by three massive corporations who own all of the big sites. The little sites don't get a look in.
No.
Google doesn't help us out.
No.
The search algorithms and SEO. It's heartbreaking. Jesse knows. He shared a screenshot with me earlier today. 40 hours worth of work on Berserker review, which is available on XboxEra.com right now. The First Berserker Khazan. Hard game. You poured your heart into it with the very limited amount of time you had. Put a review together.
Yeah, you want to know the numbers now? they've updated. It's infinitely worse. 2000.
Right, so here's the article, right?
Yeah,
the review.
The review has done 529 views. It's pumped up a little bit. Yeah, it's gone up. The is the first Berserker Khazan in Game Pass piece, which was not tweeted, skeeted, or on the website itself.
Publicly
It's
shared.
only through Google search and Bing
If
search.
you search that in your search engine,
2,410.
that's depressing, folks. That's
Yeah.
the state of media, and that's
That took
if
me
you think
3
about
minutes.
one piece of work took 40, 50 hours of effort. That's not just playing the game. It's then him summarizing his thoughts, writing it down, editing a video, capturing footage, all of that jazz to put it together in a nice package for you, the people that are interested in, should I go play this game, to go and read about or find out about. That took all of the work. The piece of crap that took 3 minutes is the thing that will actually do numbers for us.
For a very long time.
That's fucked up, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there is a bigger conversation to have, and I think everybody needs to come to the table for this. I think indie developers need to know and want to know, how do you cover my game?
Yeah.
How can I get you to talk about my game, why my game is great, and how do I beat all these other games to it? PR companies need to take some ownership that if they email us with exclusive interview opportunity, if they use those words, but they've sent that email to 1,000 people, is it still an exclusive interview opportunity? There are fundamental broken problems in this industry, and I think a really good talk that hones in on some of these and breaks them down for indie developers that are making games and want to get coverage, PR companies that are wondering, like, how do we overcome these challenges to get our games talked about that we're representing, and I think some ownership from some of the big boys out there that suck all the air out of the room. I think the industry should come together and discuss this in a more cohesive and worthwhile manner. But I'm going to try and annoy Tom Henderson to work with me and chat about that. And maybe we'll see if we can do something for next GDC and hold a talk.
You know what
I think it's an
SEO
important
is? SEO is the microtransactions of video game coverage. Everyone says they hate it, but it's the only thing that can make money. That's why we love our patrons, even Jon. No matter how much we tease him, the only reason this show exists, the only reason we can still do the podcast, the only reason we do any reviews is because the patrons pay for them. So if you guys like them, that is why it is so important. And also, if you can't,
we can't harp on about it all the time.
Yeah, like it gets annoying to talk about. It gets annoying to hear. So if like the free stuff is just, we got YouTube Premium, chuck up a playlist and let it play. Let ads run on the website. Like that type of stuff won't cost you a penny. You don't even have to pay attention to it until they start scanning everyone's eyes through their webcams at some point in the dystopian future. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Done a lot of stuff. It was fun having you at GDC to get some of that inside baseball and stuff, and knowing how important the networking is for the future. But my God, I hope that doesn't happen too often. That was a hell of a week.
yeah. Well, I'm dreading Summer Games Fest because if it's
both of us
and I are all out there, Nick's gonna have a hell of a week. We'll find a way.
We'll say once again, say thank you to Lenovo, because without this little thing that I'm gonna have, this gorgeous OLED laptop, which has insane battery life because this screen is so good, I would not be able to do any work because I'd have a Legion Go and some shitty little thing. But like, this thing's nice.
That does look nice.
And no advertising. This is literally just a loaner. I'm not keeping it or anything like that. We're not that big. But between this and that gigantic $4,500 behemoth I streamed Assassin's Creed on, Lenovo makes some good stuff. They have their variety. Like, you can get a cheap $200 Lenovo. I would not suggest that. But once you're like 500 or above, fantastic quality.
Now let's talk about some other bits from GDC. I know a lot of people that went into GDC, especially considering some of the coverage that had come out across, perhaps Windows Central would be one to call out, that people were hoping to see or hear more from either Microsoft, Xbox, or Asus about this Xbox branded Asus handheld. No such things were forthcoming to my knowledge. It's very possible there was a party I wasn't invited to. I bumped into Jason Ronald at a diner having breakfast, and he was sitting with, I think, someone from the Xbox hardware team. I didn't want to be rude and be like, hey, and just butt my way into his table and be like, hey, buddy. But we just said hello and had a big hug and all of that.
Nick
jazz.
would have done that.
Yeah, Nick would have totally invited himself to their breakfast chit chat. But I think it's because we went to a diner that wasn't like the franchise diner. It was like if you know this one, this is famous in San Francisco, but it's a local diner. It's been there since like 1964, called the Pinecrest. So it's nice to bump into Jason, albeit briefly. But yeah, I attended a few things. I did chat to quite a few developers in my time there. I'm not going to name any names because a lot of these conversations are had, off the record. But I found it very valuable, and it was a great insight of people coming together and talking through some of the big challenges that the industry faces. Perhaps not in a big capacity, but a lot of folks are having similar sort of and we were just talking about the Patreon. And it's one of the news topics of today, kind of. Chris String, one of the leaders, veterans of gamesindustry.biz, which infamously was kind of had its legs cut out from under it following the acquisition from Ziff Davis earlier last year. He's started a new venture now called The Game Business with Jeff Keighley backing it, which is really cool. They're going to be at SGF with their own event. And it's got a subscription available. You can go subscribe on Substack right now and get access and insight into various bits and pieces.
I'll tease it a little bit because the very first thing I saw from it was about UK physical sales.
Yeah. I know the UK is a very important country. I'll have you. The big topic of conversation that I found a lot of developers talking about in terms of release dates and games, and I think it's something that Chris String may have just spoken about as part of the game business, which is why I brought it up, was there is still a huge amount of aversion to giving dates for anything between June and December this year. Why? Because of Grand Theft Auto 6. And I'm talking from big publishers with big games. That
we joked about it with Phil when he was on for the last interview. It was like, I just joked about GTA. He's like, yeah, it's going to be so big. You can't wait. It's going to make them a lot of money. But it also is just like everyone else is like, what the fuck? What do we do? Yeah.
But even small developers who have passion projects or unique ideas and cool games that have nothing to do with that genre or anything like that, just know that there's almost, or at least they're of the opinion that there's just no point in releasing, or at least if we're going to announce a date, we give a vague, Q3, Q4 2025 and give ourselves the wiggle room to avoid, because the opinion is it's going to hit, it's going to smash everything else out of its way, and no one is going to get a look in outside of Rockstar. And I think there's some common sense to that, but that was definitely a very repeatable consensus point out there at GDC. It was a really, really interesting time. I'm glad I went. I wasn't so glad to have the extended stay in the United States of America. Don't get me wrong. I really liked San Francisco as a city.
San Francisco is extremely different from Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite American city I've been to. And, bear in mind, I used to live in San Francisco as a kid, but I can't remember it. Like my partner, Kat, while I was working, went and did like a tour of the Golden Gate Bridge, got on a boat and did like Pier 39 and all of this stuff. I didn't get to do any of that, but she was chatting to my dad, and my dad was like, yeah, he's done all of that. He was young. He doesn't remember, which is kind of annoying. But I did, in case people didn't watch the XboxEra podcast over the weekend, my stay was extended somewhat mid-flight back from San Francisco. So I've been on the plane for 5-6 hours, and it handbrake turned hilariously and landed us in Washington, D.C. because of the power cut and fire near Heathrow, which is the second largest airport in the world, and it's in the UK. They weren't accepting any planes. There was no capacity at any other UK airports. Whirlwind weekend in Washington, D.C. I went and visited D.C. and saw the landmarks and the history of Washington and your founding fathers. Got to be careful here. Got a large American audience. Don't want to cause any offense. So I'll say this. I found particularly the World War II memorial to be quite moving. where it had all of the states.
Where they took out
and then-
anyone of color and just wrote DEI in their place. It was great.
No, they haven't got to the memorial yet.
No, yeah.
But I did get shouted at also within 20 minutes of making it into the memorial site.
You blasphemed. Of course you
Some
did.
pro-lifers who literally chased after me with a megaphone. Humble little old me.
You were
being
this
chased
close
around
to being thrown
getting
in an
shot.
ice
I
camp.
don't know.
No, we're all ice now.
It was fun. It was fun time. I really enjoyed it overall. I'm just very tired because obviously I spent approximately 12 hours longer than I ever planned to spend moving between time zones. So I'm feeling a bit bewildered today, but we're back at it. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else of note that I should mention.
That you're allowed to mention outside of all the huge breaking gossip that you can only tell me off stream after the show.
I'm still very hopeful for this industry. I'm hopeful for XboxEra. The only other concern I have is what we're seeing is a large number of veterans that have been covering this industry for a large time, who over the last 2 years have seen, typically their parent companies who they work for, buying up all these other sites, cutting the legs out from under them, focusing on SEO and guides because that's what makes money.
Did you see the Valnet expose? Oh boy. If anything in that expose is true, it's the reason why I told some of those websites, please leave me alone, when they kept emailing me, because that's just what they
trying
do.
to poach you.
Yeah. Repeatedly. Like, just stop emailing me for fuck's sake.
It's bad, isn't it? But yes, I think the where you've seen veterans who are like, I have a platform, I have a voice, I've been in this industry a long time, I'm going to go and make a Patreon supported or subscriber supported
Substack.
service. Right. Like I get all power in the world to these guys and I wish them the best of luck. But now I'm like, there are so many and it's so saturated. And I feel like a lot of these perhaps singular content independently, but we're lucky because of our approach, right? We are a small team, but because we can wear lots of different hats in terms of multiple members of the team can edit video, multiple members of the team can narrate and write, and all of this jazz, it means we can do a lot more and we can appear a lot bigger than we actually reasonably are.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have a small amount of concern, and maybe it's unwarranted. Maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree, but I feel like some of the folks that are out there on their own now might see an initial massive kind of growth, but then it will fall off because as an individual now, you're going to struggle to keep up. Because there's so much. Like, we're constantly pushing and, we just about pull it off. But even we struggle.
Yeah, I've already seen people complaining that there's just too many impressions on, like, Assassin's Creed. Where some people are like, I'm like 10, 15, 20 hours in, and these are my impressions. And people are like, well, where's the review?
Yeah.
And it's like, I know. It's friggin'.
Guess what? If you're an individual content creator taking 50, 60 hours out, because that's how long it would take maybe to do this, well, suddenly you can't. So you just have to keep moving on to the next thing. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. On topic and kind of subtly shifting us news-wise away from GDC, one of the talks I did attend at GDC was opening 1 billion doors for games everywhere, which ended up being, I didn't know it was going to be at the time, an Xbox Wire blog post from Leo Olibi. It was a talk that was presented at GDC by him and Chris Charla, who used to be like the Idea Xbox guy, and now he's kind of like a more broad overseer. I can't remember his exact job title, which I feel terrible about. But yeah, it was interesting. That Steam mock-up UI button, which has caused a lot of debate online, which we'll dive into in a second. It was not a part of that presentation that I was there at in person, which I thought was interesting. It was a bit of a whoopsie. But it was. I'm more intrigued by the amount of conversation it's generated online.
He is the GM of content curation and programs at Xbox.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
he's a big boy.
But yes, It's generated a lot of buzz online, and I know that the
I was
chat's
first.
probably been.
Me.
I know you were first.
Damn it. But we don't have the push of The Verge, and we don't have our sources say this about it. Senior Bean was actually first. He pointed it out to me, and I immediately went, oh shit, and wrote an article up and got that out. But then everyone just took the pictures from my article, pinged other people who didn't know it was me first.
I'd go as far as to say I was first because I called it out in my op-ed a whole week before that there was some form of Steam integration. Although I said at the time, I don't know what form that's going to take because I don't know. I just heard that it was on the cards. There's two trains of thought on this. So the first thing is right now there are multiple apps, including GOG, that I can download, and it will take every game that's on my PC and bundle them all into one application and then load up the respective launchers. What we were looking at on this leaked screenshot or this inadvertently posted screenshot from Microsoft could be as simple as that. And it's not far-fetched or a whole other world to imagine that that's the case. I think that's a perfectly reasonable assumption to make. It will look at your Steam folder and go, these are the games that this guy's got installed, and we will open Steam to load them. Not hard. Right? But then there's some other discussion going along online, and that is this debate around whether PlayStation, because they have games on Steam, would deliberately go out of their way to identify and block Xbox branded Windows machines, which again, we don't know exactly what they are yet. This is like 2 years out in the future, would block them from being able to play PlayStation games. And people are out there adamantly saying that this is 100% possible and going to happen. Now, I have some opinions on this. Have you seen this debate online?
I have. I am someone playing God of War Ragnarok on Boosteroid, which, as far as I know, Boosteroid works just fine on an Xbox. The one that does not is GeForce Now, because GeForce Now, unlike Boosteroid, didn't get the rights right away. And so companies yoinked everything off of GeForce Now, and they have slowly but surely gotten it back. And PlayStation did say, we don't want it to work in this Edge browser on an Xbox. And they did that. But with Boosteroid, as far as I know, it works fine on an Xbox already. And
that's interesting.
So much of the discussion is around if it's an Xbox that's somehow playing Steam games. And it's like, no, it's just going to be a PC. It's a lockdown. Like what Tom wrote, it's a lockdown PC. It's not the console as we know it. It's not running Xbox. Like it's just the regular assed Windows license, which I don't know of any case of legitimate Windows installations on supported hardware, as in it's just powerful enough and can do it. It's the Todd Howard line. It just works. Like there's no per hardware API hooks to disable stuff in Steam, Epic, especially GOG. Like they would have to pull from everything, have their own launcher, but then probably not have that launcher on Windows because they would agree to the Windows license. So have their launcher on Linux.
That's the thing. You can break down the debate and be like, would PlayStation be happy for Xbox to play PlayStation games? I'm sure they probably wouldn't.
No.
But if they have released their games on Steam, and Steam, as it's an entire application, is Windows-based and is playable on any Windows device, they can't individually say, no, but not that Windows device. Now, I would argue that it comes down to what the new hardware, whatever it may be, is actually defined as.
Yeah, it's all theoretical, which I think a lot of people need to remember. When we say there's no reason it shouldn't work, it's not saying it's absolutely 100% going to. It's just this is how Windows works. This is what Windows licenses are. Windows licenses are very specific. It's just open. It has to be. That's the only thing that will make regulators happy.
Regulated to be. So I find the notion that declarations of absolute certainty that PlayStation will immediately prevent this from happening. I feel these are a little bit early, a little bit too soon kind of dig into it.
I see Z Black Rider in the chat says Steam could identify the box. And it's like, they could, but Steam doesn't care. Steam wants to run everything. Steam's main audience is Windows. Like, their majority of their customers are there. They don't want to piss Microsoft off.
Steam can identify successfully whether I'm playing on a ROG Ally or whether I'm playing.
If you opt in for their hardware thing, then yeah,
that too. But Steam as a device, tell me now a game that says you can't run on this unless it's a specific version, right? Like I saw our own Nick, making a point of just like they detect that my Mac can't run this game. It's because there's no Mac version of the game to run.
It can read the hardware. It reads the hardware to know that it can run it and how the drivers work, all that type of stuff. It's not saying, okay, you've got Windows on this Lenovo. Sorry, you can't do it. We only take the Windows on ASUS. They'd never do anything like that. It's just because also the next console supposedly is a set of reference specs. Think of like your NVIDIA 4090 you got, John. If there's a reference card, then there's a bunch of partner cards. The partner cards have to be at least that reference card. They have that die in the middle. But then they can add their other bits and boops and bops and pieces that run better for more money. Like, that's the whole thought process of what the next generation of an Xbox might be. It's this reference PC, and to keep their OEM partners happy, because they'd be pissed that they're putting out like a $700 super-powered gaming PC. They let them make their own versions where it can have more RAM or can have more SSD space and all this stuff. You can charge more, but it costs more. Yeah. So like that's just that.
I don't know. So I think a lot of the uproar and the back and forth about whether PlayStation could, or should block their games from being played on what is essentially a Windows PC, I find it is a little bit early and a little bit weird to just kind of. I don't know why we're focusing on it right now.
News is slow.
Really?
Honestly, news really slowed down. Like you can tell from the views on our site, it's okay. We were at like 15 to 20K when there were things popping off, and then we went down to like 10 because it slowed down. And the moment it slows down, and especially for people that are still looking at it, like I saw Colt mention an Xbox API, and it's like there would not be that.
Xbox to PlayStation
it's just,
API.
But also it's just Steam. It wouldn't be a Steam. It would have to be a Steam hook if it's running on Windows. It would have to be a Steam hook for very specific hardware, which I don't think Valve wants to do, and I don't think Microsoft would be okay with. Like if you do a Windows license, Microsoft barely makes money off of Windows anymore. It's mostly just trying to keep people in their ecosystem. I saw Derek from Tweaktown saying this must be the only reason they do this is because they want to wind down hardware. I'm like, no, the reason they're doing this is because they want to pull you into their ecosystem. They know you're not going to give them money for everything. They already have the Epic Games Store and Ubisoft Connect and others in the Microsoft PC Store with a 0% cut. It's just there to keep you on Windows and keep you in their ecosystem where they can advertise to you about Game Pass and how you should buy shit from them. And if they're,
I would also,
if the next gen is one SKU and you buy an Xbox game and then it works on your Xbox hardware and your PC and your handhelds and all that, that's what they want to be able to push to you.
Yeah, and that's the rub. So there's the new
don't know if it works.
Era, and Microsoft were pimping this out at GDC in a big way, right? Develop for play anywhere, access more people to play your games. Every developer, it doesn't matter whether you subscribe to the console wars mentality or not. Every person that actually makes games doesn't want only a certain subset of customers to be able to play them. They want to be able to, everyone, come play my game.
You look at Avowed, you look at South of Midnight, they're only on Xbox because those developers are smaller and were set up for that. And I guarantee you the moment they can, they would do a port if they could.
Yeah. So in the new era, Microsoft's vision, I think, is to have more publishers and more developers on board with the idea that I make an Xbox version of a game, and that Xbox version of a game, I buy it once as a consumer and it runs on the PC that I own, the handheld PC that I own, the handheld Xbox I own, the Xbox console that I own, the cloud version is running off of be it PC hardware or Xbox hardware, whatever.
It would definitely be PC in the future.
It's all one, and one copy has been bought. Now, if they can get publishers to buy into that notion and open the industry up, that's Microsoft's goal. More players, more engagement, more availability to tap in anywhere. That's the end goal. That's what I'm telling you the end goal is, okay? That's what they are going out and talking to developers about. That's what that talk was about. And that's what they see for the future. And it's interesting, during that talk, the first half hour of it, Chris Charler focused on the legacy of original Xbox hardware, and they called out a couple of specific things. And that was that they always took a risk and did something that had never been done before. And sometimes they hit and changed the industry, and sometimes they missed, but it was worth the risk to them. And call outs were the first time it had a hard drive in a console was Xbox and an Ethernet port on the back, right? The first time that you could have digital, it wasn't the first time, but normalizing digital arcade games at home. Xbox pushed that. Kinect, maybe not their finest moment.
It was one of the most successful peripherals of all time. It sold over 20 million. The failure was the second one, when they didn't realize the market had shifted.
And even with the second one, whilst there was all of this noise about, I don't want a camera spying me in my home, you tell me how many people you know that own an Amazon Alexa or a Google Home now, right? So they were just pointing out, like, we do look at this data, and they shared data. They shared data that effectively ascribed to what we've been saying on this show for quite some time now, is that us old guard players that like our bespoke hardware that sits under our TV, and that's what we want. We're dying out, people. I'm sorry, we ain't going to live forever. And the newer generation of people that play games that are coming up do not give a monkey's how they access their game. They don't care about platforms. They just expect it to be able to work on wherever they are. And if it doesn't, they're moderately less interested. So that's what Microsoft are pitching towards. But I think all of this discussion about PlayStation blocking games is just a little bit weird to me right now. But anyway, there's all of that. Xbox as well, they also unveiled, along with several other partners across the industry, that they have joined the Accessible Games Initiative. This is a kind of group that includes Electronic Arts, Google, Nintendo of America, Ubisoft, and others to be a part of the ESA's Accessible Games Initiative, so that they can provide accessibility settings and features in video games through a set of clear and kind of deliberately displayed across all platform holders and companies tags that accessible requiring players can use to kind of like, hey, this is going to be working for me. This will support what I need. They actually called out that there are 429 million players of games that have some form of disability, whether it be relying on hardware, accessibility hardware, like the new adaptive joystick that they announced, or color blindness as an example. So the tags are there. They add unique value for players, and Xbox are actually going to be replacing the existing Xbox game accessibility feature tags with their equivalents of this new organization, so that there's harmony amongst all of these.
Uniformity is good when you want to get actual people to do the thing that you set up. When it's extra work, that's when things kind of fall by the wayside. But if it's there and it's set up, you know exactly what to do, then you'll normally get a lot of people actually doing it.
Yeah, you can read more about it over on Xbox Wire, but it's very cool. I'm glad to see this sort of stuff is becoming the norm. Yeah, I don't know what else. What else is there to talk about GDC wise? Anything else? Self-driving cars, they were cool.
The Waymo, yeah.
I do love the Waymo. The Waymo is great. I'll tell you one other thing. I'm working on a review of them right now. Again, I did talk about these a little bit. I think it was in the thumbnail for some reason of today's show. I met Ralph from XReal, who let me have a pair of these very nifty looking. I'm not so sure how nifty they are when they're on, but this is what they look like when they're on. Do they look like normal shades to you? Am I
they're
pulling this
enormous.
off?
No, they're huge. They look like grandma. You look like a grandma who has the shades that go over her regular glasses.
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like they just need to be a tiny bit smaller. But inside of these, and I'll show them to you on the screen, are two screens. I think they're 1080p, 120 hertz. and you connect it using this little cable into the thingy there, and you can plug it into your phone or ROG Ally or other handheld PC with a USB-C compliant plug, and it will register as a second display. And I have to say, these are pretty cool to watch movies on a plane.
A lot better than when I thought of using this giant thing on the front of my face for a while, or like a Vision Pro. You just look like a tool bag.
I feel like definitely still looks a little bit like a tool bag, but there's a really neat feature on these as well. That if you're watching something and someone comes over and talks to you, you can just tap a little button and it goes transparent and the screen disappears. It felt very cool to be able to do it. So I'm still kind of taking them through their paces. I've watched 2 full fat movies on them now, where I wore them for the entire duration of Dune 2 was one of the movies. Ooh. 2 hours 45 minutes. And I watched The Electric State on the plane from Netflix. To that movie.
It was reviewed horribly.
Yeah, it was trying to channel like the charm of something like Ready Player One, but
Ready Player One doesn't actually have any charm either.
Yeah, it was okay though. I preferred it to this.
Cameo the movie. Yeah, corporate ad the movie.
I'll bring a review of those.
Speaking of reviews,
soonish. Yeah, you've done a few. We mentioned the first Berserker Khazan.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that one?
I will. I will say that this is definitely a game for John because it's one of the hardest. Well, you know what? And I'm happy because the last 2 reviews have had the new intro with the whole sound and everything. I'm trying to figure out the best way to have like the title and integrate it, but I think it worked pretty well in this one. First Berserker Khazan is one of the most difficult games I've ever played. And I'm glad to see a lot of other people have said that. I've read some reviews where they were a little negative, and I highly doubt they got that deep in because they were just complaining about how hard it was. Most people had a week and a half to 2 weeks on this because they knew to contact 47 PR. Unlike me, I didn't.
You didn't know that.
Found out I didn't know that until Friday, which is when I got the game. Because I reached out to Nexon directly on Thursday, and they got me in touch with. They got 47 message me, which was very nice of them. And so I just had 2 days and I put 30 hours in. I didn't beat it. I made that very clear in the review. I got pretty close. I know what the end whole area and all that stuff is. It's fantastic. And if it was a From Software game, it would be in the high 80s. The fact that it's right around where Liza P was, which also should have been in. If From Software games are always in 92 or 93, Liza P should have been a 90. And I think First Berserker's story isn't as good. It's not bad. It's just predictable. It should be in the mid to high 80s because it is a fantastic action game. It's a Souls-like in its setup and nature, but it does not play at all like Dark Souls. It plays like super fast-paced action games. It's more Sekiro with very little to no stealth focus. It's really goddamn good, incredibly pretty, runs amazingly well. I'm very curious what the average frame rate is on consoles because you can unlock it. And it definitely ran above 60 a lot. It was super smooth. You can just tell.
Yeah.
But so it starts on normal. Normal is nightmare difficulty. And then you can put it on easy. You can't revert it if you do. But easy is like super hard difficulty. It's not actually easy. So my only warning would be, do not get this game unless you really, really want to learn its mechanics and constantly fight bosses. And the one thing it does that's super smart is every time you fight a boss, the more health you take from them, the more leveling up juice you get. So you can just keep fighting a boss and you will keep unlocking skill and level points and get stronger and stronger as you do it, which is amazing.
And it doesn't wipe those?
No.
Ah, okay, that's good.
So as you're fighting a boss, every single time you die, it'll give you Lacrima, which is like your version of souls or runes. And the more health you take from them, the more of that you get. And like sometimes when I was learning a boss for 4 hours, I leveled like 5 times while fighting him, and I unlocked a bunch of skill points, and the skill points are incredibly useful because the moves you get are crazy and over the top. But yeah, it's just a really, really good video game during a huge, enormous glut of really good video games. And for some reason, almost every video game, unless it's a very specific subset of publishers, cannot crack 83 on OpenCritic. I put a post up in the Discord yesterday. Almost every recent big release is between 78 and 82. They're all just right there. No one will... It's just so weird, man. But then Xenoblades gets a remake and it's 87. It's like always the same handful of Japanese publishers are the ones that can actually get really good scores. But whatever. First Berserker is great. Atomfall is also out for early access, much like First Berserker. They're both actually out on Thursday for wide release to everyone. Atomfall is very good, very fun. The less you know about it, the better. And also that game you should play on hard because it's kind of boring if you don't. It's completely built around having to be careful. And so if you just put it on easy and know exactly where to go, because they give you sets of options for combat, survivability, and exploration. I left them all on hard. Way more enjoyable than when I tried them on every level of easy. Because the game is about going through this weird northern British countryside where everyone's a beat. Oh, they all talk like the Beatles. But a little.
Right, bruv.
Yeah, lots of that. Some Scots. It's good. It's a good, solid video game that, again, is also getting hit because people were reviewing it like it was supposed to be Fallout, and it's not. It's never been anything like Fallout.
I love
This is
that
not
you
like
called
Fallout.
it out. This is no Fallout up north. You know, you like
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that's what just every fucking preview just kept calling it Fallout England, and it's like, no, it's not a Fallout game. It's not an RPG. You're not leveling a character. It's a survival immersive sim. Like it's a really hard imp sim with a lot of story choices and 6 unsatisfying endings.
Oh.
Yeah, that was one of my main gripes. I'll say this. I'm still not 100% sure who your character is. And that was one of the main things I wanted to learn. Because you wake up with amnesia and don't know who you are. So I might have missed it. It might be there. You might find it. I never did. And also Breakout Beyond is really bad.
Oh,
It's Breakout. Yeah, it's Breakout in a horizontal fashion with some cool thoughts on how to make that more fun. But the analog stick has too much dead zone, and then it accelerates too fast. So it's unbelievably frustrating to try and move the paddle, which is the entire friggin' game. So then you got to hold the right bumper to be in super slow-mo, which you can do forever. It just means you're going to get a horrible score. So not a fan.
That's interesting. You remember... and I wonder if there's a bug actually, because I'm sure there was some bugs with Xbox pads recently. I don't know if it was on console or not, but you remember during the South of Midnight preview, I was like, this camera feels weird, and it was lurching, and I was like, this doesn't feel right, and I found it frustrating, and then it wasn't there the next time. I found out that if I turn on my pad like this, right, turning it on. It's right now synced to my PC. And you see where it flashed blue there?
Mm-hmm.
If I start playing a game and don't let it go blue, I get that bug. It's like there's a delay or there's some confusion between my wireless receiver and the pad. Whereas if I let it go blue, or if I just check and I press the guide button and boom, it's just brought up my game bar stuff. As long as I do that first before I play something, I don't get the bug. But if I am playing and I suddenly see that my pad light is still orange, that's when I've started to detect problems.
I was wired in.
Problem.
I'm wired and it's all Hall effect. So not on this one. This one I tried. Trust me, I tried every controller I have, and I have way too many of them right now. It's an easily patchable thing. If they patch it, solid 6. Like it doesn't have a ton of content. The colors are really nice, but there's no HDR. Like not having any HDR. That's just...
Boo.
I get
There's
it.
also HDR for a reason.
And it's probably pretty expensive to implement HDR. I get all that. But it's a super colorful game that would look really nice with it. Also, the audio effects are like super farty and tinny, and I don't like them. I don't like the music.
Also, I've been alerted in the chat by Townie's End that I'm still labelled
Oh, yeah.
as some Canadian dude.
And people like them, so I left it up there.
You
Fine, I guess I'll...
You forgot. Just own your mistake.
You didn't even notice.
Right? That's because I'm not watching the show, man. I'm participating in the show. You know what I mean?
I should always watch it to make sure it's running okay. They need help.
Yeah.
Can't leave it all on me. Thanks a lot, John. All right, next story.
Next story. Speaking of South of Midnight, it has gone gold. The official soundtrack is out on streaming platforms.
I won't
Spoiler
listen
alert.
because I don't want to be spoiled.
Don't listen to that yet because it's the whole plot of the game in there. I'm a bit confused as why they did that, but who am I to judge? But the preload is also up.
And the most
you can read
important
this.
thing, John, right here.
Yes.
This key art they put out is stunning.
Oh, it does look very
It's
pretty.
my new. This is just my wallpaper because it looks so goddamn good now. So
Yeah.
goddamn, is that pretty?
It's a pretty game. It's a pretty game. I'm looking forward to getting hands on with it at some point soon, hopefully. I will say the preload on Xbox, I think, is 42 or so.
It was
gigabytes.
It's a 40 gig download that unpacks to 58. So, but when you download it on PC, it's the full 61 gigabyte download, and then it's just that. So,
oh, okay.
less to
Okay, so
download,
they're
but
kind of the
they're
same.
roughly the same in the end.
RSJ Fan 05 in the chat is asking if there's any Game Pass upgrade for South of Midnight. There is an early access
Yeah.
version that
It's
you
a
can
premium?
get with, I don't know, deluxe, or it's one of those words. You can have a
Yeah,
preload
premium
of
edition.
sorts. And early access gets you to be able to play the game on April 3rd instead of its release
Full
date
5 days.
on Game Pass of April 8th.
And it
Yeah,
is
I don't know.
$50 instead of 40. So it's a $10 upgrade, which is not too bad. You get art book, soundtrack, comic book, music video, documentary, and 5 days early access for $10. And I'm pretty sure you can do it as a single purchase because obviously it would be weird. Couldn't.
Yeah.
I hope.
So that's
I don't
nice.
actually see it. I only see it as a full purchase. Weird.
Yeah, so that's good. So we'll hopefully have more to say next week. when it
They
comes to
like
South of
us. We
Midnight.
normally do all right.
Xbox are pretty cool. Oh, did I show you this? Oh, that's what I can talk about. I can talk about some other things.
Ooh.
I'll talk about them at the end, though. This lovely little book. If you look really closely, it's a leather
Oh,
bound.
They're buying
Full
you.
of secrets now. It's full of secrets. It's very nice. Thank you, Xbox Idea Xbox team. I'll talk about some other things at the end. Playground Games is celebrating its 15-year anniversary today. The storied developer was originally formed back in 2010, and its first job was to take the Forza Motorsport
Spike.
franchise and build a new open world racer with
I think they
Forza
succeeded.
Horizon. They did succeed. It released the first Forza Horizon in 2012. A bit of a swan song on the Xbox 360 hardware.
I'm going to cut you off
and-
real quick, which pisses off Amanda, but I just got to say, I like the Xbox International Podcast's unhinged thumbnails. They always get me. Every time I just go here and I'm going to look something up and I see his thumbnails, I'm like, he's having fun.
He's dedicated. Okay, fair. Yeah, Forza Horizon came out 2012, and I think it's safe to say that they've spawned an absolutely massive franchise. The latest Forza Horizon 5 has amassed over 40 million players.
42,
And that's-
I think, now. And
It's about to go up
yep.
because on April 29th, I think, it's coming out on PlayStation 5 for the first time ever for the series. Obviously, Playground Games are also working hard on Fable, the reboot.
Which I'll be
of
reviewing.
Lionhead's.
Hey, you did this joke with South of Midnight forever, so now I get to start with Perfect Dark and Fable.
It wasn't a joke. I wanted to review South of Midnight.
I know. We all want to review everything, but you get the Brits, I get the
you-
American. You took one American game in Indiana Jones.
Okay, fine.
Have you ever used a bullwhip? I did once, and I hurt myself.
Yeah, I whipped myself on my chin, gave
Yeah,
myself
it's-
a scar while I was escaping from
So you earned it then.
some bad guys
But
on a
yes.
train.
Do you want to
Um,
do Descenders next? That's coming out soon. I know how much you like your going down a mountain on stuff types of games.
I don't know
It's a Game
because
Pass game, you should.
I didn't vibe with Descenders.
Mhm. You can just give a really bad review, and then you've got to talk to Mike Rose exactly about why. It's fine.
He might punch me in the face. He's
That's
an
fine. You're-
outspoken man.
Yeah, but you are press, and that doesn't matter. You gotta man up. Man, I used to do way too many transitions in these things. Now I just do cuts. It looks. I had so many like fancy transitions. It was like
I never do fancy transitions. I
Yeah.
always do
I was
just
just
a
having
nice
fun.
simple crossfade. I just
Yeah.
do a crossfade.
sometimes, like when I'm doing the wrapping things up, I'll still do a transition. But other than that, it's just cut or crossfade. But yeah, I didn't mention it in there, but there are 5 goddamn games coming out between April 8th and 10th into Game Pass, and that is annoying. Stop that, third parties. Spread it out.
There's too many things.
It's freaking 5 games in 3 days again. That's like the third time it's happened in a year.
I saw a big conversation going on in our YouTube comments talking about how Game Pass, it's not, they've really lacked lately, and they used to release big single player games. And I'm like, did I miss a meeting? Like, what's going on?
A lot of it started when Destin was saying that the ABK purchase hasn't been anything for customers because they haven't done all the back compat games. Yeah. And so people were then started going after Game Pass pretty hard in various ways because the only objective reality is there's been a bajillion games, but you might not care about most of them. So for you, it's lacking. And people will take that it's lacking for me and ascribe it to it. Therefore, it's bad.
Yes. Yeah. Well, different horses, different courses, I suppose.
It's not that you have to like it. It's just that you have to accept that it has had a lot. It just might be shitty for you.
You've spelt years wrong.
It's gone now anyways.
Okay. Anyway, happy birthday, Playground Games. Next up, Ecstasis says that Persona 4 Reload might exist, and he thinks it will.
He wasn't that might exist. He was would be in Game Pass.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, there is a Twitter user who found a p3r.co.jp website right 3 months before Persona 3 Reload was announced. And now there is a p4r.co.jp website that was just registered.
Oh.
So it indicates a potential Persona 4 remake. People are like, why wouldn't they do one with 5? And it's like, because 5 already had Royal. It's fine. Persona 4 Reload, it resets the MSRP, which is what these companies, why do they do this? If the MSRP is like 20 or 30 bucks, they want to get it back up to 50 or 60. That's why they keep doing Horizon. And then Ecstasis said he had been looking into it, whatever that means, but he can confirm that it will launch in Game Pass.
Yeah. In other news, he also suggested that Silk Song had a release date planned for June at the latest.
And there's other Silk Song shit that happened.
Yeah, the Steam database updated as well.
Yep, to include GeForce Now and update the copyright to 2025.
Dun, dun, dun. It is a Game Pass launch, though, Hollow Knight Silk Song, so perhaps this might be the year. Maybe
people keep saying they'd see it
fun announce.
Next week. We're going to be talking about Nintendo a lot. People are saying, oh, maybe it'll be there. And it's like, well, if it seems like Microsoft has the marketing, so it would be weird. But Microsoft is going to be there a lot next week, so who knows? Or you would think Microsoft could be there a lot next week. It's
going to be there. It's all going to be there. It's fine. But yeah, keep your fingers crossed, Silk Song fans. I have hope for you.
Their fingers are completely contorted from being crossed for years.
Next up, Minecraft had Minecraft Live over the weekend. And the biggest takeaway outside of the usual love of Minecraft is the vibrant visuals graphical upgrade system. This is not the big super duper graphics pack, right? Which was something that kind of came and then never.
And they said they just ran like shit on everything, and so they never really put it out.
Yeah, but they have shared a blog post where they've detailed their upcoming vibrant visuals graphical system, which is coming to the game soon. It will be a part of the Bedrock Edition first, with platforms announced later, so PC, and then they'll go from there. It will, according to Mojang, transform the way players experience Minecraft. It's initially releasing for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. It's our developer vision for what Minecraft looks like with improved visual elements such as directional lighting, volumetric fog, and more. The result is dazzling. Shadows move as the sun arcs across the sky. Water reflects the landscape around it, and clouds appear infinite as they stretch far into the distance. That all sounds very nice.
It looks a lot better. So it's
honestly, with RTX, Minecraft is absolutely.
It's similar
stunning
to that, but probably without the enormous performance hits. But we'll have to see.
yeah, we will see. We will see. But yeah, that's nice. Very good. Very good. Next up, we have Future Games Showcase. I think you live streamed this one. There was plenty shown off.
There was over 40 things. Yeah.
Yeah, Claire Obscure Expedition 33 had another little showing with a character trailer. That is actually gone gold now. So there's another one that you'll be reviewing because you get to do all the reviews.
You don't want it. You couldn't have any less interest in that.
I'll do Claire Obscure. Well, I want to do it. That's the one I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
See, you don't even believe me.
Who would?
Whatever. I've got someone at the door, so you carry on talking through the Future Games show. I'll be back in a minute.
There was a shite ton of shite at the Future Games show, Spring Showcase 2025. In case you're wondering, oddly enough, it's not future as in just using the word for these are games coming out in the future. It is actually Future, the media conglomerate that owns websites like Windows Central and Games Radar, who put this show on, etc. It was still good overall. Hey, John's back. You can tell because he coughed into the mic. Painkiller was the big surprise at the end, coming back out of nowhere. The classic horde shooter. It looks really good. It's got co-op. It looks like a good, dumb fun. Get a bunch of us together to try and do group reviews because I would really like to start doing that with especially co-op focused things in the future. There were lots of things, including that game Will, which you got to take a look at and we'll hear more about later in the future. Not Future, the media conglomerate, but actual future. It was a solid little showcase. They still tried all their jokes. Almost none of them landed, but they weren't annoying. So that's the bar I'll take now. It's like, if you're going to do your jokey stuff with Jennifer English and Nolan North, at least don't make it too long. And they were pretty short generally, so no complaints. Yeah. It was a solid little Future Game Show Spring Showcase 2025.
Yeah, it looked to be some good stuff there. I particularly liked, yes, you're absolutely right, Will Follow the Light. I've got an interview type piece I'm putting together to talk a little bit more about what that one's all about from the developers over at God, I can't remember their name, which is really bad of me. Tomorrowhead. There you go. My brain caught up. I'm very sleepy. But yeah, that particularly was really stunning. And they showed me a bunch of stuff behind the scenes that hasn't been seen yet by others, which I was very impressed by.
Behind the haven't been scenes.
Yeah. And I also like the look of that Kingmakers one where you can kind of just do dumb shit. It just looks very entertaining to me. So plenty to be excited about.
There
are
way too many video games.
Tons of games.
Too many. Far too many.
Games.
Too many.
Very
Please slow down.
Yeah.
Finally.
And what else have we got?
Last story.
Oh, kind of the last story. There's one more thing I wanted to.
Wow, well, you didn't put it in there, so too late.
I'm sure I did, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't.
I deleted two things.
I don't know. Indiana Jones, which is probably my favorite game of 2024, is coming out to PlayStation 5 on April 17th. It was announced in a fun little crossover with Nolan North.
That somehow Boom thought was going to announce the Oblivion remake. He said on Twitter, it was the voice of Indiana Jones inside a study with globes in the background. Like, why would you think that would be Oblivion in their little teeth?
I love you, Boom. Yeah, good. Congrats for PlayStation folks. It's a really great game, and I hope that they enjoy it. It's very nice. It's very, very nice. And oh, look at that! I just saw I did a little piece on Playground's 15-year anniversary.
They retweet?
No, Marcus. You know Marcus Soft.
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh, very, very pleased to see my favorite Xbox-centric website celebrating the anniversary. So we've got you point. Yeah, I think that is all the news then. I think that's pretty much everything. I'm sure there was one more thing that I was going to mention.
Well, maybe we'll see if it was the things I deleted. It was Assassin's Creed Shadow and Split Fiction's movie, which I was like, meh.
Yeah. Was it those? I don't think it was.
No, because I put those in, so I was like, I don't think it's those.
No. There was something that just popped into my brain that I thought would be fun to talk about, but oh yes, no, I did. There you go. My brain's cut up. Last thing. There's no embargo on it, so I can talk about it pretty openly. I went to an Xbox event, and I'll probably do like an article, but I'll talk about it here anyway, just in the first hand. I went to an Xbox event during GDC where I got to go hands-on with a number of titles. I got to play a little bit of To a T, which, if anyone's looking forward to this, is super charming. And I will probably put myself in to have a little look-see at that one when it comes to
all yours.
Review. Hurdling.
That means you lose Fable, though.
No, nothing makes me lose Fable. Fable is mine in 2026.
It's more my type of game. I'm very British.
As a Brit, and it's a British studio.
Yeah, but is it
British-centric franchise?
It's not your part of Britain.
It's Albion, mate. That is literally Britain.
Yeah, I grew up in Albion.
No, you didn't. I got to try 2T. It's very, very nice. Hurdling, which you may have seen a trailer for. It's the you're herding giant mythological-looking creatures to and fro and solving puzzles and things. It was quite charming. I got to play Hella, which is the 4-player. You're a mouse. And you're like in a giant forest. It's all Unreal Engine 5. That's not coming out, I don't think, until next year. But I got to play a little bit of that. Very, very cool. I got to play a little bit about. No, I can't talk about that one. That one was embargoed. I can talk about Detective Dodson. That was pretty neat.
Here's Hella. Yeah, it looks nice. It's a pretty game, even though you're a mouse.
Even though you're a mouse, it was very pretty and quite cool because you can glide around and you've got to work together. But it's 4-player co-op, and it's got a kind of.
Why do they got weird tentacles in their backpack?
They've got there's witches and stuff involved, so I don't want to spoil too much.
Wow, this is low bit rate. Holy shit, IGN.
But it was neat.
720p. That's it. My God. Yeah, this looks nice.
They put the thumbnail on it as well.
What the fuck?
It's kind of like a frog backpack. It's got like a little shape of a frog on it, on the character that I had, and it can kind of like latch onto things, and it puffs up so you can glide and fly around, which is fun.
Looked like it was a tongue coming out of it for a second.
This is from the team that made Unravel, if you recall.
Oh yeah,
Unravel and Unravel 2. So yeah, it was pretty neat. But I think probably the biggest thing, and the good news is for XboxEra fans and Towerborn fans, is that Towerborn got announced. It's coming to Xbox in game preview and on Game Pass April 29th. And I got to play co-op Towerborn on Xbox with the developers. And it is such a leap forward for what I've played in early access.
It's so pretty. Like it was a nice looking game, but they did something.
Yeah, they've really worked very, very hard on it. The passion from the team is nothing short of addictive. They are so like in love with what they've made, and for good reason. It plays really, really good. I can't wait to talk more about it. But obviously, us being XboxEra, I was like, I'd love to do a kind of like an extensive first look at the Xbox version. The good news is Microsoft were like, hell's yeah. So we're going to team up. We're going to get the combat designer, who I think was the combat designer from Diablo 3, and probably McLaren, who's the game's creative director, to join me. And we'll do some 3-player co-op so that the screen isn't crazy busy on some of the harder difficulties using the Xbox version, and kind of just talk about all of the improvements that have come across and what the team are doing so that we can get it out in front of
everybody.
And
they will carry you, so it'll be fun to watch.
They will absolutely. Like, there is a skill gap.
That was Gamescom. Like, Will was there with the CEO of the studio lady. She was great.
Trisha has played something like 500 hours with the community alone, like if not more, just playing and diving into people's games and having fun with people that are helping kind of in the game preview version. She's shit hot at the game, but all of them are pretty good. And McLaren was absolutely carrying me. And it's got danger levels like 1 to 3, and that's your button mashing zone. That's if you just want to mong out and castle crashes it up with your pals, right? That's that level. But if you want to start getting the good gear and building your character and kind of focusing your path forward to make something really, really, really good, you need to up it to like danger level 4 or 5 or beyond. And that's when it's like, okay, I have to pay attention to what I'm doing now.
Yeah, it's definitely going into the nightmare difficulty in Diablo. Like, it definitely feels like they've got that ramp up.
Yeah. So all I can say is keep an eye on XboxEra.com over the coming weeks, because we'll do a nice long discussion, kind of 1v1 developer episode where we'll dive into that in a big way. So Patreon subscribers, we'll probably give you first dibs if we can to make it worthwhile for you.
It can't be a giveaway. We'd have to just choose ourselves.
Yeah, but we'll make sure we got some good content for you to consume if you're anticipating and looking forward to Towerborn. You should be. It's really good.
It's fun.
Note that this is not 1.0. This isn't the final review version.
I'm going to review that one, by the
That's
way.
to come. Okay. I would have thought I would finish my current review in progress.
No, people didn't like it. Sorry. I couldn't tell you that in person normally.
Oh, my God. Anyways, that's it. That's the end of the show, Trav.
Show.
It's the show. So we will be back on Thursday with more headlines, more news, more gaming coverage. Between now and then, I don't know if we've got anything specific coming to the site this week that's timed.
Everything's coming out between April 8th and 10th, really, for the stuff we're working on. I got blueprints I've had for a while, so pretty far ahead on that one. Jason Schreier keeps saying how much he loves it and how amazing it is. So you can go read his tweets about it, because then everyone else I know is like, why is he allowed to talk about this? How come we're not? How come we can't say shit? But he's loving this puzzle game coming to Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra. So keep an eye out for that. We should be on the South of Midnight thing, you would imagine. We're not hated by them, despite John ruining Starfield. Crap. I just gave Gyozo a review code that I want to look up real quick so I can actually say it, because I like saying he's doing Finding Frankie, the parkour mascot horror game. He's shown at the Future Games Spring Showcase. So he's working on that. That's also another game. I think that game comes out on like the friggin' 12th or 11th or something of, I don't know. That's another like middle of, I think it's the 15th of April. So lots of stuff being worked on in the background. And for the most part, if you're on our RSS feed, you see that we just keep doing boring ass SEO to pay for it. So,
yeah. So love you, everybody. Last thing I'll say before we close out, and it's more like just a statement, and it's basically a reference to an in-joke that none of you will understand, but I just wanted to say it. Lucy James of GameSpot is definitely British, and any assertions to the contrary are basically slander and should be retracted immediately. And that's I'll leave it there. And on that note, we'll see you guys on Thursday for more headlines. And as always, back on the XboxEra podcast on Saturday. Until then, my friends, be good, play video games, try not to take life too seriously.
You want me to break you in for some breaking Tom Henderson exclusive news, or we save that for Thursday? It's Nintendo related. Insider Gaming reports Switch 2 releasing in June with their 3-phase strategy approach for game releases, primarily first party at launch. Third-party studios titles come in October and November. And then third phase games in holiday period. So, like, they're just going to have first-party Switch 2 games for half a year.
Okay.
Nintendo's so weird, man.
It sounds very Nintendo.
We'll get into it and break it down more on Thursday, I'm sure. But thank you, John.
Yeah. We'll see you next time, everybody. Ciao for now.
We're rolling through time. Wake up, grab a brush and put a little makeup. Hide your scars to fade away the shaker. Why'd you leave the keys upon the table? Here you go, create another fable. You wanted to grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to hide hide the scars to fade away. Why'd you leave the keys upon the table? Here you go, create another fable. You wanted to grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to hide the scars to fade away the shake-up. You wanted to, why'd you leave the keys upon the table? You wanted to. I don't think you trust in myself, I just suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die. In myself, I just suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die. My spirit, Father, into your hands. Why have you forsaken me?